Be inspired, supported, and empowered. This is the Global Healthy Living Foundation podcast network.
Welcome to Clinical Trials Talks, a podcast to get the conversation going. Despite the amazing possibilities of clinical trials, several misconceptions exist that can make people hesitant to join. Clinical trials can be complex, and many people don't understand how they work and what their purpose is. There's also some distrust because of past issues in medical research and how the media sometimes talks about trials. Plus, many people just don't know enough because historically, there has not been enough information shared between scientists and the public. So if you're feeling this way, you're not alone. Here we bust some of the most common myths about clinical trials so you can understand them better and work with your doctor to explore potential new drugs and help researchers find better ways to treat other lupus patients like you. Clinical trials are very important for evaluating the safety and effectiveness of potential new medication. However, there are a lot of myths out there that can make people nervous about joining. In this audio guide, Myths About Clinical Trials, we talk to Dr. Philip Mease, a rheumatologist and principal investigator working on several lupus trials. He'll walk you through the truths and help demystify the process, ensuring that you have the information you need to make informed decisions about participating in clinical trials. Welcome, Dr. Mease. Thank you for joining us today.
And thank you, Susan. I'm happy to be here.
Let's start with the myth that clinical trials are only for drugs, not devices.
Some people think clinical trials only test new medicines, but that's not true. They can test all sorts of things like vaccines and gene therapies, surgery techniques, counseling and other mental health treatments, vitamins and dietary supplements, medical tests like blood tests, special diets, physical therapy, and medical devices.
Another myth we hear is that clinical trials use medications never before used in humans.
It's easy to think clinical trials only use brand new medicines. While that's sometimes true, many trials use old medicines. This helps find new ways to treat disease faster and at a lower cost. An example of this is a medication known as deucravacitinib, or Sotyktu, which has been approved for the treatment of moderate to severe psoriasis. It is currently in the midst of phase 3 trials for lupus. Another example is chimeric antigen receptor, or CAR, T-cell therapy, which is a current personalized treatment for patients with certain types of blood cancers. CAR T-cell therapies involve genetically modifying the patient's T lymphocytes to recognize and bind to proteins on cancer cells. The T-cells are then delivered to the patient via one-time infusion. CAR T-cell therapy is currently being explored for many autoimmune diseases, including refractory lupus, a form of lupus that does not respond to standard treatments and impacts at least one organ in the body.
This is a common one. We hear, "I'll be like a guinea pig."
Nobody wants to feel like a test subject. Safety is the most important thing in clinical trials. The first phases of a trial are all about making sure the treatment is safe. Before treatments even reach human trials, they go through extensive testing in laboratories and on animals to check for safety and begin to look at the effectiveness. It must be tested in animals that are similar to human systems and cell systems, the way the human body works, to determine potential risk. This is one reason there are often many visits during a trial. This means by the time a treatment gets to the later phases, we know a lot about it. You'll get regular checkups and care throughout the study. Researchers are committed to making sure you're as safe and comfortable as possible while you help advance medical science. Helping to advance science can mean the study medication works, or it may tell us it does not, so we know what not to focus on.
And what about the myth that if I have to stop my current treatment, that will put me at risk for a major flare?
Many people in clinical trials aren't doing well or are not satisfied on their current treatments. Trials may give you options that might work better. It's understandable to worry about stopping your current treatment, but clinical trials are carefully designed to make sure you're taken care of. Doctors and researchers will monitor you closely and make adjustments as needed to keep you safe and comfortable. The goal is to help you feel your best. If you're worried, talk to your doctor about your concerns. They're there to help you every step of the way. Another thing to note, some trials keep you on some of your background treatments. In the trials that don't, there are often rescue medications that can be given if you are not responding to the study medication.
Let's move on to myth number 5. I feel fine. I need to just live with my pain. It's my new normal.
It's okay to say your pain or symptoms are not normal and look for alternative treatments. Clinical trials may offer possible new solutions that might make you feel a lot better. By participating in a clinical trial, you might find a study medication that works better for you than what you're currently using. Remember, your health and comfort are important. Talk to your doctor about your pain and explore the options available through clinical trials. There may be a solution that can improve your quality of life significantly.
We've also heard from patients that they think clinical trials are only for very sick people who have no options.
Clinical trials aren't just for people with no other options. They cover a lot of conditions and involve people at different stages of health. Some trials need volunteers who do not have any diagnosis.
This myth is definitely worth a clarification that once you start a clinical trial, you can't leave the clinical trial.
You can leave a clinical trial anytime you want. It won't affect your regular health care. Researchers might also take you out of the trial if they think it's best for you, but they'll explain why.
Another myth we'd like to clear up is whether patients must be invited to apply for a clinical trial.
You don't need an invitation to join a clinical trial. You can look up open trials on websites like clinicaltrials.gov and talk to your doctor about joining one.
Questions about placebo often come up when we're talking about clinical trial. Can you tell us if it's true that if you participate in a clinical trial, you'll automatically get a placebo?
Let's first define placebo. A placebo is a pill or liquid that looks just like the study medication but has no active ingredient. It is used to compare the effectiveness of the study drug to no intervention. Furthermore, placebos are typically only used in the early phases of a trial, after which patients who start the trial on placebo are then given the active study agent. Not all trials use placebos. You'll know if placebos are used before you join the trial, as this will be explained to you.
This is an important one to clarify, that once you're denied from a clinical trial, you'll always be denied for clinical trials.
Being denied from one clinical trial doesn't mean you can't join others. Each trial has different rules or eligibility criteria, so you might fit the next one. It is important to have these criteria so the study medication can be appropriately assessed. When filling out forms or answering questions, it's important to be honest. Don't answer based on what you think might make you eligible. The information you share is designed to help determine if the trial would benefit you.
And last but certainly not least, diversity in clinical trials is not important.
Diversity is super important in clinical trials. It makes sure the results apply to everyone, no matter their race, gender, age, or background. This helps make treatments safe and effective for all kinds of people. The more diverse the trial participants, the more information there is to see if and how well the study medication works on different populations.
Thank you, Dr. Mease. By clearing up these myths, we hope more people will consider joining a clinical trial and help advance medical research. Thanks for listening to our guide on clinical trials. If your lupus is not well controlled, clinical trials may be a way to explore another potential route. While it's not a guarantee, it may be a step toward taking better control of your condition. Talk to your healthcare provider to discuss if a clinical trial may be a possible option for you. This audio guide was made possible with support from Bristol Myers Squibb. If you like what you heard, be sure to rate our podcast, write a positive review, and spread the word by sharing with your friends and family. It will help more people like you find us.
Be inspired, supported, and empowered. This is the Global Healthy Living Foundation Podcast Network.